I'm talking about you specifically. But do you believe as a race, African Americans, we play the victim?
Hey, man. No. I'm just gonna leave that as a one-word answer. I'm not even gonna jump in deeper than that. No.
Yeah, I'm on the side of absolutely not, and I will leave it there until somebody disagrees.
Yeah, then I'll jump back in. And now I'm gonna step back.
Well, you know, I mean, I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna say yes.
Let's go.
I'm gonna be real. I say yes.
Give me an example.
See, it's a loaded question just because I'm not gonna sit here and say every single African American side's either on the yes side or on the no side. I say yes to mainly spark conversation, but also, I know you're not talking, you said not personal experiences, but that's all I got to go on. I will say, you know, just based on where I am in life, I've gotten a lot of pressure from African Americans, feeling like, you know, I've gotten to where I am because of white people, or you can't speak, you didn't grow up like I did. Like I came from the hood, you know, I didn't have the same opportunities and privileges that other people had. And though, you know, I believe that to be true, in today's America, I really do feel like anybody has the opportunity to rise to the occasion. Now, is it easier for certain people over others? Yeah, I mean, let's be real, yes. Like, that's 100% true. But, you know, I just keep hearing like systemic oppression, this, that, and the third. Like, yeah, we get it. I know. Like, we all know. But the opportunities are still there. Will you have to work a little bit harder to get to where you want to be? Absolutely. Because of how you look? Absolutely. I'm a testament of it.
Anybody gonna say nothing?
Go ahead. I want to hear this.
I think it's impossible to accuse us of playing the victim. You're talking about a 400+ year head start for a particular set of people. You're talking about systematic oppression. That's what I meant by a post-traumatic state. Is we're at this stage in 2020. We're trained to say, yeah, it's unequal, and that's just not okay to me. I don't think we should ever get to the place where we just accept inequality.
Correct.
I'm not encouraging stagnation, so I agree with you. I'm not encouraging throwing in the towel like, yo, it's not fair. That's not what I'm saying at all. But while striving to be your best self, you should never accept inequality. And I think that's what we're being trained to kind of just be like, yo, this is just the way it is, and to no longer call it out. And I'm not even saying we got to go picket, protest. I'm not saying none of that. But at least in conversations like this, if we're not going to set a standard, no standard is going to be set. Nobody else is going to stand it. Nobody else is going to set it. You're talking about, statistically, like factually speaking, at the onset of the 20th century, you're talking about owners only giving land to specific races. That's generational wealth. Yeah. You're talking about bank loans only being given to specific races.
How can
that's generational wealth. Correct. So we can't. It's not even like this is ancient history. That's what blows my mind. This is recent history.
But he didn't say that didn't happen. Mm-hmm. What he said was, do we play the victim? Mm-hmm. And I think that's very different. You're aware of the things that have happened, but are you victimized as a result of it? So, do you say, this is what I can do with what I have been allotted, or whatever my place in life is? Are we playing the victim is the question.
So
yes,
I think we have to define play the victim.
Okay.
I think we are the victim.
Because anybody can be a victim.
I think we are factually a victim.
So all races can be victims.
What do we call in playing the victim?
What do you see that as then?
What do I see what as?
Playing the victim. Like when you hear that, like what does that trigger for you?
Play the victim means I'm acting like something is being done to me that's not being done to me.
Or always complaining. That's what I hear. Always complaining about our history.
That's what I hear when I hear play the victim. Like you're taking the position that something being done to you and nothing's being done to you. That's somebody playing a victim to me.
This is what I hear.
And that's not the case to me.
This is what I hear.
Yeah.
Get over slavery. Stop talking about it. We're all equal now. You should be ahead. You should be further than where you're at. Stop talking about the old days. I'm gonna stop right there. But
Yeah,
that's what it triggers in my head.
Say like we can't. I don't think you can outrule or like just say, hey, some black people aren't playing the victim, because everyone uses excuses.
Correct.
And people can be using playing the victim by whatever excuse they may bring. But like you said, like we weren't given an opportunity basically to build that generational wealth, and without that opportunity, we don't own anything. So we are having to kind of look for employment like at wherever you work. And even you said there's one person at D1 that's black. And we're 15% of the nation. That's not an accurate representation of America. So therefore, we may not be playing the victim, but we're getting hurt in corporate America or whatever part of life.
Yeah,
that's kind of just statistics.
I'm going to agree with him. I also don't like the term playing the victim, because it does sound like you're alluding to something that is not real. Mm-hmm. And I think if we, I'm not dismissing or negating the effects of 400 years of oppression.
Sure.
And, the things that we've seen and been through. I'm not dismissing any of that. But if we cut it all off and we started with a year ago, we are still being victimized by the stuff you have to see on TV. You have African-American boys who at the age of 11 or 12, all they have ever seen were African-American boys being killed on TV. Mm-hmm. That's all they've ever seen. They've not known the life without it, because they've watched this happen since they've been old enough to understand. Mm-hmm. They are victims. You can go into a grocery store. You can go into an amusement park. You can go anywhere and be mistreated, and you will be a victim today. We're not talking about the victimization only of the yesteryears. You can be a victim tomorrow.
All right. I just wanted to commend this panel here. This is a very, very, very good panel. I enjoy listening to the one dialect from each and every last one of these individuals. And I enjoy listening to their personal perspectives as well. Now, everything that everyone was saying on this panel, I absolutely, totally agree with them. To be honest with you, there really wasn't a right or wrong answer for us, the question that was being asked. But however, what I do want to address is that a few of them was addressing the victimization of African Americans from two totally different perspectives, and I want to share that with y'all today. Now, the first perspective, that they was sharing is that they're showing the perspective of victimization due to systematic oppression. You know what I'm saying? And this goes on the line with what the other gentleman was talking about, where they was talking about 400 years of slavery, and different things like that and stuff. You know what I'm saying? They were speaking from that perspective. Now, the other people on the panel, they wasn't speaking about systematic oppression, but they were speaking about lack of opportunity or having the will to pursue opportunity, from the present day, you know what I'm saying? So both of these two totally different perspectives. It was very, very interesting. I enjoy listening to it, a whole lot and stuff. But this is my perspective on the overall nucleus of the thing, about this playing the victim role, or African Americans playing the victim, you know what I'm saying? Now, the overall result is that, first of all, how the way I look at playing the victim is this. Playing the victim is no different from what psychologists see as a man or a woman who plays a victim role. What do I mean by this? I mean that it'd be a certain individual that will purposely blame a situation, or they'll purposely blame the reason why their upbringing is the way that it is because of a certain situation that transpired that never existed. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, you know what I'm saying? Like, for example, like we're dealing with different racial disparities right now and stuff where for some reason, for example, a white woman, she could just call the police and make up this whole narrative talking about that a man or a woman is harassing them, they're a threat to her or him, you know what I'm saying, make with this whole entire narrative saying that and stuff, right? That's called playing the victim, you know what I'm saying, creating a whole narrative that ain't even true, you know what I'm saying, it's fictional and it never happened, you know what I'm saying, but in their mind, they thinking that that's happening, you know what I'm saying. So with this situation with African Americans playing the victim, you know what I'm saying, it's very, very rare that you actually see any type of African American person will literally just conjure up a whole false narrative about why the way their upbringing is the way it is, you know what I'm saying, or create a whole false narrative about it, stuff like that, because in reality, that upbringing is actually true. This is their reality, you know what I'm saying? Some on the panel they were saying this and that, I believe one lady, she was mentioning that hey, due to their people upbringing, you know what I'm saying, that that's because of their upbringing, they end up witnessing different violence, you know what I'm saying, during that upbringing, and they cause them to lack opportunities, you know what I'm saying, which is very valid because that's very true. To me, that's not playing the victim. To me, that's the whole reality of the situation, because that is true. When you go into the urban neighborhoods, there are very lack of opportunities in the urban neighborhood. There are lack of opportunities in the educational systems. Many of the schools is overcrowded. Many of the teachers is underpaid. And also the teachers is lacking resources, and on top of that, the community is lacking resources as well to provide an education for the children in the community. That's one thing, you know what I'm saying. Not to mention the economical, you know what I'm saying, disparities as well, you know what I'm saying, where economically the community is struggling and stuff to stay afloat, you know what I'm saying, since the community is lacking, you know what I'm saying, this will cause crime rate to increase, you know what I'm saying. This thing that I'm mentioning about, this is, I'll talk about the criminology philosophy and stuff too, you know what I'm saying, where due to lack of opportunities, the crime rate end up increasing, where more burglaries occur, more drugs is introduced into the community, more domestic violence situations is happening because of lack of opportunity in the community, you know what I'm saying. So yeah, so these different things, it doesn't create a false narrative for playing the victim, you know what I'm saying. These things that happen, these is the reality of the situation, you know what I'm saying. Now, however, there are people who, parents and stuff, you know what I'm saying, was lacking the opportunity to provide for their children, you know what I'm saying. That's another situation too. But on the flip side of things too is that perhaps it's parents that have the opportunity where they could provide to their children, give them a more proper education, where they have opportunity to be able to advance within society and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying, which in that situation, that's fine. But even then, that goes back into what I was talking about in the beginning about the systematic oppression of African Americans, you know what I'm saying? Even though you have a better opportunity or a better start at the race, you know what I'm saying, you still going to deal with different hurdles. Just because of the color of your skin, you can't advance into your career unless you are actually owning something on your own. Before it's being a corporate America, it's almost impossible for any type of African-American person to go all the way up to the top as a CEO. The most that any African-American person will probably make it to is either some type of management position, you know what I'm saying, and that's probably the highest that they can get, and that's it, you know what I'm saying. So there are systematic oppressions that are set there, you know what I'm saying, and when the African American community address these things, it's not playing the victim, it's not oh, woe is me, we this and that or whatever stuff like that. It's a cry for help that we need to do better for ourselves. And even when we have certain tools to try to do better for ourselves, it's still hard to do better for ourselves versus other opportunities from other races like whites, you know what I'm saying, Jews, Jewish people, you know what I'm saying, Korean people, Chinese people, you know what I'm saying? Even not Hispanic people or Mexicans, stuff like that, have a little bit more better opportunity than the African American race. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so the overall nucleus of this thing is that, yeah, we always been lacking opportunities. You know what I'm saying? It's not playing the victim. It's not playing the victim role. It's not us making up this visible narrative, you know what I'm saying, that these things happening to us, but it's really not happening, you know what I'm saying? That is totally false, all right? So this is how I feel about it from a therapist. I feel that once when we get past these hurdles, you know what I'm saying, by us addressing it, putting it out there, and we've been proactive about it. I think somebody on the panel that was talking about, well, it doesn't, you know, I don't know about doing picket fists or protesting about it. I believe that we should protest about it. I believe that we should put ourselves in positions and stuff where we start learning more about the laws, so we learn more about the laws of the land, about businesses and everything like that, so we can have a better opportunity, so we can go out there and voice our concerns, so we can have a better opportunity for our people. All right, so y'all let me know what y'all thinking. Like I always, fight fakes with fake.